What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel, and today I have for you a review of the Fifine Amplagame H6 headset and the Fifine Amplagame S3 headset stand. Both of these items were sent out to me for review. However, all opinions in this video will be entirely my own and would be the same as if I had purchased these items with my own money. Both items are currently available on Amazon, with the headset currently being on sale for $40 and the headset stand running for $35. Now, as always, I'm going to be starting with the aesthetics and then moving into features before finally moving into the actual usability of the product. Both of these items are going to be reviewed kind of as a package deal, as they are meant to be used together in a way as sort of a fine ecosystem. So, starting off with the aesthetics of the headset. I was very impressed with the overall design choices that they went with and the quality of the design. This headset kind of reminds me of a helicopter pilot type of headset, similar to the aesthetic of the Razer Black Shark V2. And I think this is how gaming headsets should look. I think that we should move away from the sort of too gamery aesthetic and into this sort of more sleek type of like pilot type headset. The materials used were pretty good quality for $40, I would say. It uses this kind of fake leather on the headband, as well as on the cups, with this sort of plush material filling the headband and in the cups. There is a lot of plastic construction as far as on the cups and on the headband. However, the inside of the headband is aluminum, which is impressive to see on a $40 headset. I was expecting an entirely plastic construction. Now, the design, like I said, is very great. I love the minimal all-black aesthetic here. However, I am not the biggest fan of what's going on the side here. On the side, we have this RGB strip and the Fifine logo, and I think the combination of both of these, the smiley face and the RGB, just makes the headset look a little childish. Now, I will be clear, this is like entirely a nitpick. I don't really think that it looks bad at all. That just is me personally. I prefer something that looks a little bit more mature as far as gaming peripherals go. I think that this could be easily rectified if we were able to control the RGB. If this was a solid color, if we could control this as a solid color, or if the logo wasn't there, I think that either one of those would get rid of that childish feeling for me. But once again, entirely nitpick. Overall, I think the design is great, and it uses some pretty high quality materials for its price point. Now, moving on to the headset stand right here. The headset stand, I believe, is pretty good. I do think that it takes too much of a footprint up on your desk. So I believe that it should be smaller. That's my major critique here. On the front, we have this RGB that is controlled with voice or sound. So there's a microphone at the top, and then it reacts to sound. So it kind of acts as a audio visualizer. There are several different modes of display here that are controlled by a button on the front. So it does different effects based on the sound going on. So if you're using this while you're listening to music or anything like that, it is a pretty cool experience to see it as like an audio visualizer. The RGB on the bottom is controlled by a button on the back, and it has several different static colors, as well as like a full RGB rainbow and a kind of breathing color change mode as well. The RGB can be shut off with the button on the back by pressing and holding, and can be activated again by pressing and holding again. Now, like I said, overall, I think that it's a headset stand. I think that the design is good. However, there's a couple things I would fix. For one, I would shave off a little bit of the sides. I think that it's a little too wide, and I would definitely shave off a lot of the height. If you'll see the headset actually stops like right about here, and we have probably 2 or 3 inches of just wasted space. And I think that adds to making the headset stand look a little too big and just taking up too much space. So if it were for me, I would definitely cut down a little bit on the height here. I think that this should be a little bit shorter. Now, moving on into the features of both products. I'm going to start with the headset stand here because there's a lot less to talk about, and I have a lot to talk about as far as the actual headset. So, obviously we have the RGB here that is controlled by the button on the front and the button on the back. However, there's 2 main things that this has that I think every headset stand should have, and I think that makes it more justifiable for its $30 price point, $35 price point. I think that it should be around $30, but $35 is not too much of an ask. So, on the back, we have we have a cable clips here for cable management. So you can use this to cable manage your headset, as well as the actual wire for the headset stand. And I think every headset stand should have these clips and this cable runway here. it just makes it so it's so much easier to manage and makes the whole thing look cleaner. Because if you're going to have a cable, not only for your headset, but a cable for the actual headset stand, you got to have some way to balance that and manage it so that it doesn't just leave cables all over your desk. A lot of other headset stands that I've used actually don't have a cable management system similar to this, or any cable management system at all. So having this kind of clip with runway system, I think this is a really, really good way to handle that. On the bottom here, we have 2 USB ports, and a lot of headset stands do have USB ports nowadays, but most of them are just power. These actually act as a USB hub. So if you're using this and have it plugged into your computer, you can use these USB slots as just extra USB slots, which means you can plug your headset in here and or your keyboard or mouse, so that you can have everything that has a cable that's on your desk all kind of plugged into one area. So having these extra USB slots, I think, is really helpful, and it makes it so that you don't have to purchase a headset stand and a USB hub. You can have both in one. And I think that, like I said, justifies the kind of higher price of this item compared to just your average headset stand. Now, moving on to the headset itself, I was incredibly impressed with the amount of features that they packed into this thing for $40. Now, I will preface this by saying one of the features did not work as well as I would like, but we will get into that more when I talk about the actual usage of the headset itself. So, one of the features that is packed in this headset is, of course, a removable mic, which for many is kind of a bare minimum thing nowadays, but it is still nice to see. I personally prefer to remove my headset's mics because I think that it looks cleaner, and because I have a standalone mic, so I don't have much usage for a headset mic. However, that's not the only feature they added in here. This is a USB headset, so it does not plug into your audio and microphone jacks into your PC. It actually plugs into a USB port, which means that it has 7.1 surround sound. That is a very big selling point of most USB plug-in headsets, and I will say that it does work. We'll get into more on the actual quality of the surround sound, but it does work, and it is a very cool feature to have in a $40 headset. Additionally, it has a built-in EQ that is controlled with a button on the side right here. We have 3 EQ modes, which are inscribed here on the back. We do have this is the gaming mode, we have a media mode, and a music mode. And basically what this is going to do is it's going to adjust your highs, mids, and lows depending on what type of media you're using for. So if you want to hear footsteps, you put it on the gaming mode. If you want to hear the loud bass and music, you put it on music mode. And if you're consuming media and kind of want it to be flat, you use the media mode. I think that's really cool to have in a headset of this price point, especially when it's not using any sort of software. So you don't have to download some sort of bloatware into your PC. It's all self-contained. And the EQ actually is pretty good. It does its job. It certainly does make it easier to hear footsteps when you're playing games, and it certainly does make music more enjoyable to throw it onto the music setting. I think this is just a really cool feature to have, especially in a very budget-oriented headset. Additionally, on this inline controls, we do have a microphone mute switch, which will activate this red light right here to let you know that you're muted. A very basic feature, but once again, pretty nice to have everything all packed into this one inline control. We also have volume controls with volume up and volume down on this inline control. All of these features packed into, once again, a $40 headset is very impressive. Most headsets of this price point do not have any sort of these features, or they'll make use of some sort of very rudimentary software to try and accomplish these features. Having it all packed into this inline control into the hardware is very, very, very cool, and I think very much not something you see in this price point. Now, as far as the actual usability of both products, the headset stand, there's not much to talk about here. It's a headset stand. I used it, and I think it looks good. I think that it could, like I said, trim down a little bit on the shape, but having USB ports on the back to use the USB hub made this a very, very useful item to have on my desk, so that I do have a separate USB hub, but it did make it so I didn't have to use that as much. I could just use the ports on the back. Now, the actual headset, the audio quality is really, really good for a $40 headset, especially when you're EQing it, using the EQ to get to whichever type of media you're using. However, the surround sound, it worked. It did work. You could definitely hear that the surround sound was working. You could hear sounds behind you, in front of you, and to the side of you. However, the audio quality dropped remarkably as soon as you turned it on. Every time that you would use the surround sound, all of the audio just became washed out, and it was not an enjoyable experience. So yeah, it does work. I would never recommend using it for surround sound. I do not recommend, if you're looking for a surround sound headset, look elsewhere. The surround sound is egregiously bad. If that's my one critique as far as the actual usability of the headset, they got to go back to the drawing board and rework whatever they were using for the surround sound to make it so that it doesn't wash out the sound so much. Other than that, the audio quality was great, and it was actually really a joy to use and play with. As additionally, the microphone really impressed me on this headset. Granted, Fifine is a microphone company, so I was expecting a decent microphone, but for a $40 headset, this microphone is one of the best headset mics I've ever heard, especially compared to, I have $80 headsets that are not as good. The headset mic does not sound anywhere close to this. I'll give you a quick test in 3, 2, and 1. You are now hearing the microphone from the headset itself right here. And to me, I think that this is great. It's very crisp, it's very clear. However, I do believe that the headset, that there's a lot of vocal compression going on, so it doesn't quite sound as natural. That's why I prefer to use my separate mic. However, if this was the only mic that I had access to, I would not be mad at it at all. I think the mic sounds great, especially for $40. Let me reiterate that, $40. This is a very good and you're getting a package deal here with your headset and your actual microphone. This audio quality is incredible. So if you're looking for a cheap headset / microphone combo here, you could do a lot worse than this. Alrighty, so we're back onto my main headset mic here, or my main mic here. Overall, my verdict on both of these items is I would recommend them. I would definitely recommend the headset. $40, all of the features, an incredible microphone. You really can't really beat it from anything else that I've seen in this price point so far. The headset stand is a little bit harder to recommend here. Personally, I would not purchase it. That's just because for me, I don't need an RGB stand on my desk. I think that it takes up a little bit too much space with the way that they made it. However, I think that it's justifiable for its price. I think that it should be a little cheaper. I think it shouldn't be $35. It should be in that $25 to $30 price point. However, having that combo of a USB hub and headset stand could be very, very attractive to some people. So, overall verdict. This headset, the Fifine H6, 100% gets my seal of approval. The S3, not so much. If you have any sort of disagreement with my ratings or what I said about the items, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. I always read my comments, and I love to answer any sort of questions you guys might have. So, that is my review for today. I'll see you guys in the next one.